Hunting for Easter eggs in movies has become a passion for large numbers of movie geeks out there. In fact, there's no shortage of YouTube channels whose whole deal is all about pointing out Easter eggs you might have missed in movies or even just their trailers. Movie sites and wikis abound with lists of Easter eggs to be found in your favorite flicks. And yet, even with all that, there are some Easter eggs from classic movies that don't appear on any site or YouTube video for some reason. In fact, once we point them out to you, you'll wonder how you missed these amazing Easter eggs for so long. Here's a whole basket of movie Easter eggs that no one has ever thought to point out until now.
Here, kid, have an egg.
Malls attract strange company. The 1995 follow-up to Kevin Smith's seminal cult film Clerks, Mallrats boasts any number of unforgettable scenes, like the one where a bearded Stan Lee pops up to talk about Ben Grimm's junk, or the one with the schooner and the magic eye.
Wow, a sailboat!
Shut up!
Or the one where Michael Rooker, currently beloved for his roles in The Walking Dead and Guardians of the Galaxy, licks butt juice off his hand. But for true cinephiles who are always looking to trump each other by uncovering the coolest and most obscure Easter eggs in movies, one scene in particular stands out. Early in the film, the lovable slacker Brody gets dumped by his girlfriend Renee to date Ben Affleck's character. Affleck then kidnaps Brody and beats him up, but when Brody's friends, including Jay and Silent Bob, ask him what happened, he lies and says the mall's Easter Bunny is the one who busted his nose.
All I said was the Easter Bunny at the Menlo Park Mall was more convincing. He just jumped the railing and knocked me down.
Jay and Silent Bob decide to avenge their pal Brody in the way they know best: tactless violence. But eagle-eyed viewers will catch an added layer to this scene. If you look in the background, you'll see several plastic Easter bunnies holding baskets. And what's in those baskets? Yeah, boy, it's Easter eggs. Bill and Ted's Bogus Holiday. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is the vastly underappreciated 1991 sequel to 1989's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, a movie that somehow managed to both kick off Keanu Reeves' career and end Alex Winter's. While the original film is about Bill and Ted traveling through time to gather historical figures in order to pass their history presentation, Bogus Journey focuses on the two teens getting killed by evil robot versions of themselves, going to hell, and teaming up with the Grim Reaper to save their fiancés. It rules. While in hell, the dudes are forced to face their greatest fears, which include Bill's grody grandmother and a military school colonel who assigns them infinite push-ups. The scariest vision of all, however, is one in which Ted is reverted to a younger version of himself who had stolen a basket full of candy with his younger brother's name on it. As he digs into the basket, he's confronted by a Chucky-faced pink rabbit who chases and taunts him for making his brother cry. Yep. The basket Ted stole from his brother was an Easter basket. In other words, you guessed it, it was totally loaded with delicious Easter eggs. Guardians of the Galaxy. 2012's Rise of the Guardians is an incredibly rad animated film about the Guardians of Childhood, a secret society of magical figures who help protect children and fight to keep childhood magical for them. Members of the team include Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Sandman, Jack Frost, and a mysterious fellow named E. Aster Bunnyman. To make a long story short, it turns out that this name is actually a cleverly hidden reference to the Easter Bunny, which would totally explain some of Bunnyman's characteristics. Like, the fact that he's a large talking bunny obsessed with Easter. It also gives a new significance to the swarms of seemingly sentient mobile eggs that follow him around. Once you know Bunnyman is actually the Easter Bunny, you might start to realize that these aren't the normal, everyday walking colored eggs that you see all the time. These are actually Easter eggs. Cool, right? And all it took to figure it out was a little word puzzle solving. Definitely makes all that time spent doing word searches feel like it was worth it.
If you're not a kangaroo, what are you?
I'm a bunny. The Easter Bunny.
Nightmare Before Easter. This next scene only makes sense thanks to fan theories from the internet. But if those theories are right, it makes for a cool and unexpected Easter egg. The Nightmare Before Christmas is a 1993 stop-motion animated movie where every major holiday has its own town devoted to the celebration of that holiday. Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, accidentally stumbles across a portal to Christmas Town and becomes obsessed with it. He decides Halloween Town will run Christmas this year, and so he sends his minions Lock, Shock, and Barrel to kidnap Santa Claus. Why? So Jack can do up the Yuletide in his own stripy Tim Burton Hot Topic Fever Dream aesthetic that year. This trick-or-treating trio doesn't initially come back with Santa Claus, however. Instead, they bring back a roughly human-sized rabbit carrying a basket and wearing a sash that says Happy Easter on it. Now, here's where that cool fan theory kicks in. Since each of the portals leads to a different holiday, one of those doors might just lead to some kind of Easter town? We know, get out those crime boards, people. That would mean that this man-sized basket-toting rabbit is actually the Easter Bunny, and those lumps in his basket are probably those tasty Easter eggs we've been hunting. That is, if the fan theory is true. The big picture. Universal Pictures has been using an image of the planet Earth with some version of its name superimposed on it since the beginning of its existence. Even if it has evolved a bit in the studio's century-plus history, one thing has been consistent, however. It's always the logo on top of our regular old round globe Earth. Or is it? Hop is a 2011 film from Universal that finally makes a movie out of the old traditional story we've all known and loved since childhood. That the Easter Bunny has a son who would rather play drums in a rock and roll music band than deliver Easter baskets, and whose dukes are actually jelly beans. The genius behind the hidden Easter egg in Hop is that it comes before the movie even starts. Take a gander at the flick's first few seconds. That familiar Universal globe isn't quite how you remember, is it? It isn't round, and no, it isn't flat either. It's kind of oval? You might even call it egg-shaped. The Easter Bunny is coming to town. These days, Rankin Bass Productions is perhaps best known for its Christmas specials like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. But they actually produced a large number of non-Christmas specials between 1964 and 1987, including a series of 3 separate origin films for the Easter Bunny in a span of 6 years. The last of these 3 Easter Bunny specials was 1977's The Easter Bunny is Coming to Town. As the film's name implies, it's a sequel to 1970's Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and it actually follows the template set out by that previous film maybe a little too closely. Filling the role of the Winter Warlock from Santa Claus is a grumpy bear named Gadzooks, who has a tendency to steal anything holiday-related that anyone tries to carry past his home on Big Rock Mountain. In one scene, the future Easter Bunny, named Sonny, just like James Caan's character in The Godfather, tries to cross the mountain only to be accosted by Gadzooks. When Gadzooks inspects Sonny's basket looking for snacks, he finds the basket is full of colored stones that Sonny intends to sell as paperweights. A close viewing of the film, however, will call to mind an earlier scene, in which Sonny and his friends actually painted a large number of eggs bright colors in order to specifically fool Gadzooks. So, not only does this scene feature some cool Easter eggs, it actually reveals the true, totally, 100% historically accurate origin of Easter eggs. Not too shabby. Who hard-boiled Roger Rabbit? 1988's Who Framed Roger Rabbit is the most ambitious crossover event in history, no matter what Marvel Studios says. Where else can you see Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, Woody Woodpecker, Droopy, and Pinocchio in one movie? Anyway, one scene in particular stands out to fans scouring this reference-laden flick for Easter eggs. In the scene, human detective Eddie Valiant is taunted by an egg-peeling barfly for working on a job with a tune. Eddie angrily shoves the egg in the lout's mouth before we learn that Eddie's long-standing anti-tune prejudice comes from the fact that
Toon killed his brother.
It may seem like a stretch, but could this regular egg actually be an Easter egg? Hear us out. Disney is known for its perfectionism, and its animated films are filled with Easter eggs. So, it's unlikely that such a noticeable choice would be meaningless. So, a prominent inclusion of an egg in a movie that stars a rabbit should be setting off some alarm bells in your head. Egg plus rabbit? Sounds like Disney thought they could slip an Easter egg past us without us noticing. Did we forget something? Oh right, Happy Easter 2018, and Happy April Fool's Day too. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.